Welcome to the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast with Mike Kincaid and Jake Goebel. Join them as they experience specialty coffee and document their journey. These friends explore roasts and roasting methods, brewing equipment and techniques, and review the cafes they visit along the way.
Thanks, Brioni, and thank you for joining us for episode 49 of the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. I'm back at it again, messing up the audio. Please forgive me. My voice sounds like it's underwater again. Mike's voice sounds great. But anyhow, it's episode 49. Let's jump right in. All right. Welcome to the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast, episode 49. I'm Jake Goebel. That is Mike Kincaid. That is Honey the dog on the ground. And I'm only pointing it out because we're trying to get this video cast going kind of at the same time for you. If you are enjoying the videos, let us know. If the videos are lame as all get up, let us know.
Let us know.
Because we are taking a little bit of time and effort to put the videos together and out there. When I say we, I mean Mike, not me. I'm not doing anything. I just do the podcast. So if you enjoy it, let us know, because that would encourage us to continue to do it. And if you don't, that would take it off our plate and we try and do something different. So that's it.
That's it.
That's legit.
That's the story.
That's the story, and we're sticking to it. And speaking of the story and sticking to it, because we want to stick to the script, let's get into Manny G Recommends.
Manny G Recommends.
Because Manny G has recommended a lot of things. Some of those things we had not tried. Some of those things we meant to circle back and report to you on. And there's 4 things that we're going to talk about Manny G recommending and circle back and give you some update on. The first one is my man Rob Haas, modulating the flavor profile of coffee. Did I get it right? Modulating the flavor. Okay, yeah. One Roaster's Manifesto. So Mikey bought the book.
You got it right. Good job.
And you bought it from Lulu.
I did not.
Where did you buy it from?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, good point. Glad you brought this up.
How did you get it?
Little tip. Lulu was there. They're like, hey, prints within 3 to 4 days. And then they ship it. Because it sounds like a print-on-demand service.
Yes, it is.
They specifically said prints. And when I was searching for it, Mill City Roasters also had it.
What?
Same price.
Mill City?
Same.
Already printed?
Yeah.
Ready to go.
They said 3 days shipping.
Wow.
And so I figured they weren't printing it.
No.
And they're probably not ordering it from Lulu and then waiting and then turning. I didn't think they would do that.
Did they?
Nope. I got it in 3 days. So I went with them, same price.
What they probably did is they probably ordered 25 or 50 of them to have them on stock, ready to go, because
they probably give them away, I bet you, with orders.
I bet you they do.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend $25,000 on a roaster, they might hook you up with a
$25 book.
$25 book.
Yes.
Most companies are like that. Would be like that.
So I got it from Mill.
Big Mill. Shout out to Mill City Roasters. And how's the book?
So yeah, I'm just about finished with it. It's a quick read, small read, but there's a lot of good information. And depending on where you're coming at it, whether you're kind of a veteran roaster, I don't know. It doesn't matter, because maybe you're a veteran, but you've never thought about it the way that Rob breaks it down. And what's very interesting, and this plays perfectly into where we're at with our own roasting experience right now.
Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to get into that later?
I'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Rob breaks down
I didn't want to force the pain on
the roast curve and breaks down into segments and tells you what's happening during this part in the roast, generally speaking. And he backs it up with some scientific data and just some firsthand experience.
Okay.
He's got some amazing credentials. He's like, why should you trust me? Well, I don't like talking about myself, but here's some of the things I've done. Because he's really not a huge name to his own testament in the coffee community.
He's not a legend?
He says he's not, but maybe he is now.
Can we put Rob Legend in there, or does he not fit with the legends?
I don't know. I think he's a legend now. There's really not much resource out there to find, this type of stuff. And he talks about the drying phase. He talks about the, I think it's the Maillard reaction. Maillard.
Yeah.
Is how you pronounce it, or
Mallard?
Mail. But I think it's Maillard. I don't know. Could be wrong.
That's interesting. I think a mallard is a duck.
Well, it could be a duck too.
Oh.
Sometimes words have 2 meanings. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I don't.
No. But anyways, he goes into the drying phase, the development phase, and he talks about, yeah, see right there.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what that is.
Maillard.
Maillard.
So, and he goes into saying, okay, what happens if that part of the roast curve is elongated or drawn out, or if it's shortened? And he says there are specific things that you can achieve in the end cup by manipulating those times.
Huh.
And it's very exciting for me because he's saying, if your cups are bland or there's not much body, here's what he recommends doing.
I see how that fits now.
He's like saying, take this stage and draw it out or make it shorter. You know what I mean? So progress through this part of the roast curve a little differently. And for me, it's like gold right now. It's like because I don't have any experience. I'm just figuring out it as I go.
You're flying.
I've read the Rayo of Light book,
right,
which has certain principles that I think you put these two together, and I think you've got a nice little foundation.
One gives you kind of the principles, and the other gives you kind of
a little more detailed breakdown, in his opinion. Yeah, of how this affects the end cup.
Trying to troubleshoot a little bit.
He had an interesting story I'll throw in there. He says that he's very good at. He can often replicate a roaster's specific roast. So he'll have a client that he's consulting for, and they'll have a bean, and they'll roast it on their particular machine, call it a Probat. He'll take that same bean, roast it on his Loring, and adjust for all the variables, even in difference in machine. And a lot of times they can't even tell the difference.
Wow.
Because he knows exactly how to manipulate that bean, even account for the different type of machine, which, is huge with airflow and how the heat's applied and all those variables.
Yeah.
And he'll get a cup that is very hard to tell the difference.
Right.
And proves that he knows how to manipulate it.
I think if that is the case, that being the case, Rob qualifies for legend status
for
the Orange Cactus Coffee podcast purposes.
The fact that he took the time to create this for all of us that are learning.
Yeah.
I mean, I put it out there on the Instagram, said, Rob, thanks for doing this. This is a big help. And he replied, said, my pleasure. Yeah.
Rob gave us some love?
Yeah, he's out there.
We got to get Rob on. We got to get Rob.
That would be cool. Let me
tell you what else Manny G has recommended in the past, and that is the Stonecreek Podcast.
Yeah.
You've been listening to that a little bit.
I listened to it because we are engaged in a discussion.
This discussion. Now, they have not yet hit episode 50. Their last episode was from March, and that's 49. But you can go back and listen to other shows. We highly recommend that you do that because Manny G recommends it. So what you can do is you can go back and you can join this discussion. What episode is it, Mike? Do you remember what episode it is?
Yeah, I got it right here. What's interesting, though, in this particular episode, while I'm looking it up, I'll make mention of this.
Episode 37, Barrel-Aged Coffee.
One of the hosts said, my dad is a big fan of the show, and I feel like I know he listens, so I feel like I'm at the kid at the Little League game, and your parents are in the stands.
Yes.
He said, Dad's like, you guys need to tell people who you are, because if they haven't been with you from the beginning, nobody knows who you are and what you do. And that was your point.
I brought that up last time.
And it was just funny that his own dad had that same feedback. And so they reintroduced themselves. They're like, okay, good point, Dad. Here we are. So I thought that was kind of cool.
And we do it with the different voice profiles. I'm the Jake voice, and following this will be the Mike voice.
And I'm the Mike voice.
Perfect. That's the Mike voice. I'm the Jake voice.
Not to be confused. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. But they were in a discussion, because we're in a discussion with kind of aging coffee, and specifically barrel aging coffee.
Barrel aging. I'd never really heard of barrel aging coffee, so you're going to have to kind of take the reins on this. But it sounds weird to me. It sounds very weird.
It's definitely, I think, got kind of weird. Anything that you're not familiar with is weird, and we're always adverse to. I've never walked this path either. But the idea is, and there's many different variations, is you essentially age the coffee in like an old whiskey barrel, or it can be wet, it can be dry. There's different ways you can...
It can be wet?
Well, the barrel would still be saturated. You would still have a residual left over from the whiskey, from the alcohol that's aging. So a wet barrel means they just drained it. Here's the wet barrel.
I see.
So you can either age the coffee in its green state, or you can do it after roasting. There's all these different things. Some people are aging cold brew in these barrels, so they're brewing it, extracting, getting cold brew, and then putting the cold brew in the barrel. And then the idea is you extract properties from the barrel, the whiskey, the rustic notes, the woody flavor, and it adds this kind of body undertone to your coffee drink.
Does it add alcohol content to it as well?
It can, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know much about it. I'm very naive to it. We're just starting this discussion because people are like, hey, maybe you should try this, or have you tried this? And I have not. But this particular podcast brought out, I think, just one good point. And I think there's a balance there in my mind currently. Unless we try things, we don't know.
Right.
People are saying, because there is one argument that says, hey, that's for alcohol, that's for beer, even a little bit in the wine, hard alcohol. That's it. You don't need to try it with anything else.
Then you wouldn't be drinking nitro if that was the case.
That's my point. Yeah. Unless you try things, you just don't know. Maybe even it doesn't make sense, but I'm going to try it anyway. Right. I think that's how many things are discovered. It's a variation of your first intent.
Yeah, and I think that if you look at kind of second wave, this roasting and adding these liquids, these flavorings to the coffee during the roasting process, they roast it dark, and then to get different flavors, they've added cinnamon, they add hazelnut, they add spray, these different sprays onto the beans themselves during the roasting process. And we tried it, I mean, it's there. The industry as a whole has tried it and said, I don't know about this anymore. And so you can get better flavor properties of the bean by just roasting it a little differently instead of spraying this artificial flavoring on it. You don't really need to. You don't need to do that. And then there's, of course, adding nitro. And then also for New Orleans cold brew, of course, they add chicory.
And
if you look at kind of at the history of the chicory, then you can see that they were, trying to spread out the thin out the coffee.
Yeah.
Make the coffee last a little bit longer just because it was expensive. So there has been some experimentation. And then you kind of keep what's good and you kind of dismiss what's not. So it sounds like this could just be the next step in that experimentation, but there are some health hazards.
I think
associated with it.
I think, and that's
I don't get the health hazards. Health hazards. What are the health hazards of putting it in the barrels, Mike?
Splinters, Jake.
Oh.
Splinters.
I got splinters in my tongue. Can you tell?
Yep. Splinters. No, and that's the key. I think when you're experimenting with anything, there's always a hazard. There's always a risk. And so to tie this all in, Manny G recommended the Stonecreek Coffee Podcast.
Episode 37.
And in this episode, they have a little more experience, and they talk about some things just to be aware of. They're not big fans of it, and my opinion is, maybe they need to try with it, even to their own. They even said, hey, we have an idea that might make it work, but we haven't tried it yet. We'll go try it. Let us know. They haven't tried it yet.
Yeah,
I know.
Maybe episode 50 is going to be that.
Maybe they'll break the group.
So what are the health hazards?
So they get into a little bit, mainly with cold brew. When you have cold brew, and if it's not, even if you keep it refrigerated, it has a shelf life. It will go rancid. But the other thing, if you keep it in a barrel,
sounds nasty.
One of the things they said,
we've had some skunky cold brew before.
Yeah. One of the things they said that makes sense to me is when you age alcohol, because by its very makeup, alcohol, it resists bacteria.
Right.
You can age alcohol without the concern of it developing a bacteria. I mean, part of the reason why America survived certain eras is because they drank beer or fermented water that it was...
Right. When the water was nasty, the alcohol saved them.
Exactly. Yeah. So the idea is that cold brew doesn't have these properties, so you can develop some bacteria. And especially if you're doing the aging properties or the process where the barrel's taken from different temperatures to expand and contract the wood so that it, releases.
I see, more of the flavor from the wood
exactly
to the liquid.
And anytime you do that with a liquid or anything, even in cooking, there's a danger zone when you're transferring between, the cold temp and the real high temp. There's that zone where bacteria likes to live. And if you're passing back and forth through that zone, you're promoting
the bacteria zone.
Yeah.
You would get some funkies in your cold brew.
Exactly. So they're like, you can make you sick. Things can develop that could make you sick.
Perfect. You know what? It's a risk that I'm willing to take with Mike.
There you go.
I will have him drink it and report on it.
So that's with cold brew, though, which I don't think it is as popular as actually aging the beans or
green beans. Because you're going to green bean them and then you're going to roast them, and you're going to burn out whatever bacteria is in there anyway.
You would. But then they also said you kind of are burning out the alcohol, which is a nasty taste and flavor. So they don't like it at all in the current method that they're aware of. They don't think it produces a good cup. We've never tried it. So we're just saying there's a little nugget in that podcast about, and we want to hear from you. Have you tried it? Do you like it? Is there a method that you think is is awesome, is on point.
Yeah.
We've never ventured down this. We think there's so much still that we're learning just in the basic presentation of the coffee itself. Yeah,
exactly.
In its raw form, rare,
Yes. But we're not even ready to start the experiments yet.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
I don't want any barrels.
No. We don't need any of that. We're trying to dial in some beans now. We're trying to dial in just our brew process. I'm trying to dial in some cold brew. I done messed up cold brew the last time I tried it.
There's a tip.
Don't mess up the cold brew. There's a tip for you.
Maybe read the manual.
Yeah, maybe just read the manual. Pick a recipe and read it, and then read it again and then try it.
Yeah, step by step.
Because if you put the beans in the wrong place and the water in the wrong place, you're going to end up with a big mess.
Yeah, essentially. And that applies to
That's a good brew
barrel aging as well.
That's a good brew tip for you there.
So
follow the stinking instructions.
We'll continue that conversation, but just know there might be risks if you're letting liquids sit out for a long time.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
all right. Another thing that Manny G recommended was coffeecourses.com.
Yeah.
You had tried the coffee roasting light course, and you had kind of just
skimmed it.
You just skimmed it a little bit. There we go. Skimmed it a little bit. And have you completed the course? Are you ready to give us a little more in-depth evaluation of coffeecourses.com?
I have watched a considerable amount more. I haven't finished. It's a long course. It's got some good content. So that's what I will say is I've actually enjoyed it. William, the instructor, kind of goes into it. He has a very interesting approach when he starts, and it's kind of cool. He takes some brands of coffee, light ones, and he says, we're going to assess them. And I'm going to show you how I would assess these coffees from everything from the roast color to how the roast looks. It looks kind of at, they call it the valley. Is it puffed up? How fractured is it? How pitted is the bean? And then he gets into the color, use kind of like, it's not an Agtron, but it does the same thing where it reads the color, gives you a number. Mm-hmm. And then he gets into cupping and he cups them. And they're legit brands like 4Barrel and Counterculture. And he tells you, in his opinion, what they did. He even says what kind of machine they used based on certain properties, and then he even tells you which one missed the mark. And he says it's not here trying to beat up brands, but trying to teach people.
And this is the free one.
This is the free one.
So if you're roasting coffee, and you have access to the internet.
Yeah, that would be needed.
There is no reason why you should not be at coffeecourses.com and checking out this roasting light course.
Yeah. There is, and it might not all be for you, but there is some good information that made me think, wow.
But it's free.
There's a lot more to it.
There's no cost to it, except your time, which is valuable.
Yeah. And even some big brands, he's like, they didn't get this one right.
Yeah. And you know what?
And that's cool.
It's hard to get everything right and then still deliver.
Yeah.
Like over and over and over deliver a product.
It is.
So, the last thing that Manny G recommends, which is very exciting, is the Ileo Bullet R1 roaster.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said Ileo.
I did say Ileo.
Yeah, I think we've had someone weigh in on this.
Well, John... He's a very gracious man. He sent us some drop coffee, and he's from Sweden.
Okay.
So I hit him up, and being the idiot that I am, I said, hey, do you know how to pronounce this word? And he's like, I would pronounce it Ileo, like aisle.
Yeah, and I like that.
But it's a Danish company made in Taiwan, so I wouldn't know. So, Jake, you're an idiot. Don't you know the difference between Denmark and Sweden?
Yeah.
I did. I just thought I didn't... There's no coming back from that. There's no coming back.
Yeah.
I do know that there's a difference. I thought it was designed in Sweden. I was mistaken. It was designed in Denmark.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So my apologies, John, and thank you for the great coffee, and thank you for weighing in on it.
Well, that's all that mattered.
Yes.
We just needed someone to settle the debate.
We needed a tiebreaker, which is interesting because I tagged Ileo in the conversation, and they never weighed in.
Yeah.
I think they're busy.
I think they're a little busy.
They're too busy for Twitter conversations amongst goobers trying to figure out how to say my name. So Manny G, the crazy dude that he is, he pulled the trigger on the Bullet R1. We're going to be roasting buddies.
I think he's joining us. Yes.
We're going to be roast buds.
Yeah.
Or
swapping roast profiles, talking late into the night.
Not me. I'm going to be sleeping because I ain't roasting.
No, we're going to need your help.
For what?
Support. Encouragement.
Yay, Mike. Yay, Manny.
You might have to drink some coffee at some point.
Well, that I can do. That I will do for you.
That's funny.
So the Ileo Bullet R1 is hopefully going to allow us to have more coffee more consistently instead of selling it for a week and a half, selling out, and then not having anything, and people sending us messages being like, yo, are you guys ever going to sell coffee again? Or do you guys just talk a lot?
The latter.
We just talk a lot. But kind of bringing us back to the conversation.
Bring it back.
From Rob Hughes's book, Modulating the Flavor Profile of Coffee, as we've been trying to get this next Saguaro, a.k.a. the Costa Rica Saguaro, online, Mike, it's been kicking your butt, bro. It's embarrassing to kind of talk about.
Not at all.
But it's kicking your butt. You're wrestling with this thing, and we've had probably 7 different roasts. You've roasted 7 different times. Now. We could have just slung it. Good enough. But good enough is not good enough. Not for you guys.
Good enough just isn't.
Good enough just isn't. I think that's Onyx's, or Never Settle. Theirs is Never Settle for Good Enough.
Yeah, I think our local animal feed store's slogan is good enough.
Oh, perfect. Good enough isn't.
Just
perfect.
isn't.
Good job.
Good job.
Animal feed and coffee. Both.
Tying it all together.
So what are you experiencing trying to roast up the Saguaro, and then how is Rob Hugh's book helping you? And I'm going to keep saying Who's, but it could be Rob Hose.
Yes.
You should ask Rob up. How do you say your name?
Yeah.
Is it Who's like hoops?
What do you call that?
The P?
When you say, what's that?
Ooh. Do you pronounce it like who?
No, what's that thing that shows you how to say it? What do they call that?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. It's in every dictionary. The lines, they have different meanings, and they have different symbols and things like that.
Yeah,
I don't know what
like
that
the upside down E.
But John
that makes
used
sense.
them in our Twitter conversation when he's saying, I would pronounce it I like aisle. And
I like that. Every time I go to say it, I think Ileo. Got it.
Ileo.
Yeah.
Ileo.
So
the Ileo Bullet
the
R1.
Costa Rican is very interesting because when we first got it, we bought like a pound or 2 pounds, roasted up. We're like, hey, this is pretty good.
It's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
We're getting some chocolate. We're getting some base.
Yeah.
We're getting some cinnamon.
Yeah. Exactly what we wanted. Held up well the cream. It was unanimous across our cupping board.
Yes.
Jake, myself, and the wives.
Yeah.
So we pulled the trigger. We bought 50 pounds. And since then, it's been downhill. We've cupped it. Didn't really like any of the cuppings. We thought, well, maybe the little bit darker is where to go.
Maybe in between 3 and 4.
Roasted a couple more times, and it's a little better, but it's still nowhere near what I remember it.
And it's better if it sits a little while.
Yeah, when it's fresh off the roast, it's just, I don't know.
Bland? Is that that's not even the right word. It's not bland. It's just something is not right.
Yeah, something's not right.
Something's not right. I gave the last bit of the last roast to the missus this morning. She said it was better than yesterday.
Yeah. And it is. And that's one thing I've learned with, Lindsay, my wife. She's like, well, how old, how fresh is this? I'm like, well, it's 2 days ago. Well, I'm not going to drink it because she just doesn't like anything that's too fresh. She doesn't like the flavor properties that come.
Oh, I want it same day. Same day. I want you to get up.
It's definitely a different cup, though.
Put the dolphin running shorts and the headband on, roast it, and then run it over. That's what I want.
I know. Well, you're not getting that.
In a barrel.
Because that's weird.
Carrying a barrel on your shoulder.
A wet barrel?
Carrying a wet barrel on your shoulder. Hey, this was barrel aged for 30 minutes as I ran it over here.
Yeah.
And then you can have the splinters on your shoulder.
Nice. Other health hazard. So I don't know what's going on with it. But yes, the Modulating the Flavor Profile book by Rob has given me some great ideas. And I think the first thing I'm going to attempt to do is draw out a little bit of the drying phase and a little bit of that phase right after that, the Maillard. I think I'm saying that right.
Maillard?
Maillard.
It's M-A-I.
Maillard.
Maybe it's Maillard.
Oh, it might be Maillard.
Because Ileo.
Let's look it up. Wiki it.
Wiki knows. Okay, you keep talking. I'll look it up.
So anyway, the second phase, basically from when the, as he classifies it, when the beans start to turn yellow, you start to see the little yellow, the reaction's begun to the beginning of first crack. So I'm going to try and extend that phase out a little bit. And there's reasons why listed in the book that I think will hopefully give us a better body and allow for a little bit more development in this reaction phase. And
are you ready?
Yes.
The Maillard. That's French.
Maillard?
The Maillard.
Maillard?
Skip the D.
Oh. Oops.
The Maillard reaction.
Could be why Rob in his book, he calls it the MAI, I think.
MAI.
That's
Maillard reaction. Is a chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that gives browned food its distinctive flavor. Seared steaks, pan-fried dumplings, cookies, and other kinds of biscuits, breads, toasted marshmallows, and many other foods undergo this reaction. It is named after French chemist Louis Camille Maillard, who first described it in 1912 while attempting to reproduce a biological protein synthesis. Straight from Wiki.
There you go, Maillard. And that's... what did you say? See, that's why he calls it Maillard.
He's probably just writing MAI.
Yeah, MAI.
MAI.
That he calls MAI.
He calls it MAI instead of the Maillard.
Maillard. But I'm
fine.
excited.
Rob can do that. If Rob is a legend, then Rob can do that. The rest of us got to figure out how to say the dadgum stinking word, right? Or you're going to be over there ordering a white mocha when it's Mocha Bianca.
Yes.
What's wrong with you?
So that stage, it's one of the chemical reactions taking. It's the main one. So that's why it's called
a large, not a grande. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'll give you 2 talls instead.
Oh, perfect.
Such an angry little man.
Perfect. Thank you. So the Costa Rican, Rob is helping us get it back on track.
Yeah, I'm excited to try a few different things. And this is great. Even though in the moment you're like, it's frustrating, but this is exactly what we need. This is what we're doing. We're experiencing. We're figuring it out. We're documenting it.
Yeah.
We're learning. And it's nice wrestling with just one bean and changing the variables.
Right.
And we're all going to experience the difference in the cup.
And
for better or worse.
I like that not everything is going quite smoothly for us because it seems artificial. You know, because everything's been going awesome since we started in January. Just kind of, not everything.
Not everything, yeah.
Like the boxes.
Phil keeps taking vacations.
Phil keeps taking vacations. There's some internet problems. I keep getting sick. I was sick this week. I was sick last week. So there are some things that are coming up, but life is coming up. But from like a coffee standpoint, things have been going so smoothly that
we needed this.
We needed this.
We needed to.
We needed this.
Somebody has to. You gotta eat the dog.
We need some drama, some dog food.
Some drama. Dramamine.
Yeah. Anyway, some Dramamine. Yes. So that's what's going on with the Costa Rican bean that we're trying to roast, and how Rob is helping us, and Manny's going to be joining us with the R1, and so we're going to try. So, are you going to try and get this bean dialed in on the bean more before the ILEO shows up?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going. Because part of me now is even more motivated to show what the B-More can do.
Show the world.
Now that I've got a little more knowledge.
Shock the world.
Because knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is, but you got to put it into application and turn it into wisdom. That wisdom that Rob has.
Right.
And you can only validate that once you taste it in the cup.
I think that's good. And I think it is beneficial for us to experiment with as many of these home roasting devices as we can so that we have a little bit more of a foundational knowledge of what you guys are out there wrestling with if you are on a home roasting device.
Sure.
Because Ghostly Roaster is putting the pressure on about a home roasting contest, the Battle of the Beans. We haven't forgotten about you. We've just been putting it on the back burner. And now it's time to put it on the front burner. Let you guys know that it's coming. It's coming soon. We got to start putting the work in. Ghostly's done a lot of work.
Yes, he has.
We got to start putting all the pieces together and knocking it out. And it hit me this morning as I was sitting around feeling sorry for myself, getting better from being sick. It was a horrible day. It's been a terrible week. Lost my football game last Saturday, and then sickness and just pain and suffering that leads to the dark side.
Wallowing in self-pity.
I was wallowing in self-pity all week. And I'm like, dude, if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it. That's kind of the thing about running your own business or trying to start your own business. If you don't do it, ain't nobody going to do it. And I'm thinking about our expert that we've got hanging on, and we need to send out the questions and get that stuff rolling. The two things that are kind of hanging over us at the moment.
In limbo.
In limbo of things that we told you about. You've responded to us. You've sent us the questions. We got to get on it. It's been a rough week, dropping the ball and just not. I have not performed as I should have.
Shame on
this
you.
week. Yes, shame on me.
Yep. That's. I don't know what else to say other than we're going to start working on it.
Step it up.
Step
it up.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 full-length podcasts, 1 daily podcast, and for a while there I was rocking a daily article as well.
You're doing a lot.
Putting out stuff, and I was feeling good. And then I got sick and went down, and soon as that happened, you just throwing the pity party.
Yeah.
Throwing the pity party, but you can't be throwing the pity party for yourself.
Well, sometimes, no, but I will say sometimes your body knows what you need. And by that I mean sometimes when you're doing a lot and you don't realize the toll it's taking on you, your body will say, okay, we're done.
We're shutting down.
Yeah.
We're going to shut down. Good luck with that Orange Cactus coffee stuff that you're doing.
We're pulling the plug.
I will get back to you. That's interesting, though, because the camera has an auto shut-off after 30 minutes, right?
I think it goes 30, yeah.
30 minutes auto shut-off, and we're trying to do this video and audio at the same time. So, anyhow, we just passed the 30-minute mark. Perfect.
Is that what it says?
That's what it says.
Nice. So
Perfect.
Then you could warn me.
I meant to.
I could set a timer.
Yeah, that would be great. Have the timer go off while we're recording, and people can't see, but they can hear. Bloop, 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 bloop,
Just
bloop,
have to
bloop,
edit.
bloop, bloop.
Little post.
Oh, yeah, just a little post-production work.
I know you don't like post.
Just fix it in post.
It comes with territory.
Just fix it. How about do a good job when you're recording, and we won't have to fix it in post?
That's ideal.
That's ideal.
But what in life is ideal?
The Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast, episode 49.
Ma'am.
Yeah, we just hit 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Countdown to the end.
Yeah.
So those were the 4 things, right?
Yep.
The Manny G. We wanted to circle back around. We've and quick tip: if you do decide to buy a bullet,
That's right. We wanted to talk about the ordering process. Yeah. Tell us the story of how it's been.
Yeah. So I finally were like, yeah, let's order it. I go on there, and I had some foreknowledge that I had forgotten, and I'll share that in just a second. I ordered it, and I was all excited. I didn't get a confirmation. Nothing seemed to kind of go through. There was no finalization that you normally get when you order something.
Did I spend $3,000 or not? Did
it just go through? And then my card that I happen to use, the bank that it's linked to, sent me a text and said, hey, are you trying to spend $2,700?
In Taiwan?
In Taiwan? And I said, as a matter of fact, yes.
Yes, I am at a Taiwanese.
They happen to have the gambling site there that I like. Please, let it go through. So it's reply 1 for yes or 2 for no. And I'm like, 1, yes. So then I'm like...
I am indeed at a gentleman's club in Taiwan. Trying to spend $2,700.
So I look back on their site. You can go under your your account and look at your orders. And it showed canceled, because the card was denied. Because, I guess they thought there was something fishy going on. I don't know. I guess so. But
yeah.
So they said all by text.
I'm thankful for banks that say, "Oh, $2,700. Let me not spend that for you."
I know, and that's one thing you do have to remember because if you get too upset about them blocking the charge, just think how happy you would be if somebody else was trying to use that money and they blocked it.
If it were fake, you would.
You get a random text that says, hey, are you trying to spend $2,700?
Yeah.
No. You know what I mean? That's what it's there for. Inconvenience, yes, but ultimately, I'm glad it's there. So
yeah, it's better.
I reordered because they sent me a text right after that says, okay, thanks for letting us know. You're all good to go. Ran it again. It went through. So that's such a big improvement. Usually with most things, you got to call, figure out, okay, what happened? Oh, we blocked it. Okay, please put a note on there that I want to make a charge. So for me, it wasn't too problematic, just a minor inconvenience. But for others, it might be a little more involved than that. So just quick note, let your bank know, let your credit card company know you're going to make a purchase. And the information that I had pre-hand was in an email conversation with ILEO. They had told me, hey, heads up, let your bank know before you order if you do, because they'll probably block the charge. So they had warned me, as I'm warning you, don't disregard it like I did.
Be like, whatever.
I never got a confirmation.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this outfit?
And Mike works at a bank.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's a banker.
Exactly. And then it totally clicked afterwards, too. I'm like, I should have known, number one, because of my vocation, that this would have happened. And number two, they told me it would happen.
Right. They said, hey, by the way, your bank may deny this transaction. Whatever. Just send me my bullet.
So I was just testing the system.
So now that the order has gone through,
yes.
How many weeks until it gets here?
I don't know.
Is it?
They said 3 to 4. 3 to 4. It
weeks.
still says processing. I looked yesterday, and they said they will notify me when it's ready to ship. So that's what I'm waiting on.
Now, you did send them a question about 110 volt?
They had sent out an email. I'm on their email chain that said, hey, normally it's like 6-7 weeks.
For the 110s? Period?
Just in general.
Oh, just in general to get the bullet. Uh-huh.
And they said, hey, we're getting ready to drop the next batch, or the next set is going to be available.
We're getting ready to drop the next batch over here.
So they said, we're about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
We're preheating the forge right now.
It's going. They said, but if you want a 110 version, we don't have as many. Email us first if you're specifically ordering because of this time benefit. Email us first to make sure we have some. So I emailed them.
Yeah.
They said, if you don't care about the 3 to 4 weeks, we'll get you a 110. It's just going to be the normal wait time.
Gotcha.
So I just emailed them anyway. I'm like, hey, I want a 110. What's going on? And that's when they replied and said, yes, we got it. Tell your bank if you're going to purchase it.
Ooh. Speaking of the forge.
Oh, the forge.
It's another thing that Manny G recommended was the espresso forge, and there was a delay in that.
Yeah, that was the
shipment.
The serious man's hand press espresso device.
Yeah. The espresso by hand, it was like $235, something like that. Right? Was it $230?
I think so. I think all in for the stand and the pressure gauge was like right at $300.
Right around $300.
Yeah.
But it was legit espresso.
Yeah. It was cool.
Legit.
So, but anyway, that's a little update on the orange cactus.
On the Ileo, and on all the things that Manny G hath recommended.
Good resources. Highly recommend.
Yeah, perfect. So, Mikey has been talking a little bit about the history of coffee. If this is your first time joining us, he's gone into the history of coffee on 2 previous episodes. Is that right? 2 or 3? Something along those lines.
At least 2. We talked briefly about the origin, kind of...
Thanking a goat.
Yep, a goat.
I don't believe it, by the way. I don't buy that goat history. I don't buy it.
How can we have a segment that you're undermining? Let's keep going. But Jake doesn't believe what I'm saying. Yeah, we're going to give you truth here, but...
Hold on a second.
One of the hosts is not on board.
How long have I worked for you? And you're not familiar with me undermining everything that you try to do?
I don't know how... You can't believe that a goat
ate this berry and made everybody dance.
Which actually, to your point, have you ever seen goats, especially baby goats?
Yeah.
They're crazy.
They're
jumping around.
Look, I've seen it on the Facebook. Them goats is crazy.
They are crazy. So to say like, hey, this goat, there's something up with this goat. He's jumping around a little bit more than the other goats.
He's acting unusual. Yes. Ain't buying it.
But it's a great story nonetheless. And then we got into the history of coffee in Costa Rica because we had bought the Costa Rican bean.
So
we shifted gears a little bit.
Yeah, that was good. So this was in, like, Ethiopia and Yemen both lay claim to being the birthplace of coffee.
Yeah. There's a debate.
Whether the goat was in Ethiopia or Yemen.
Yeah, or on the border.
On the border.
Maybe ran across, so hyped up.
They're not border countries, but there is some water in between them for the most direct route.
Yeah.
But who cares, right?
Well, I think it's been divided before.
What has been divided before?
The water in between.
Oh, perfect.
It could happen again.
No, that's further.
Yeah, perfect segue, because we're going into religion meets coffee.
Perfect.
And actually this time, Jake is going to bless us with his...
The things about religion and coffee. Acceptance of coffee wasn't always so widespread. Religious groups had to understand and allow this new, strange drink. Islam wrestled with it first. Should the drink be treated like alcohol, a forbidden, euphoric, but intoxicating drink to avoid, or recognized as a gentle, nutritious, refreshing alternative to alcohol? The latter won out, and coffee prevailed throughout the Islamic world. Which is interesting because the Moors, or the Islamic Empire, right? Mm-hmm. The caliphate actually expanded all the way to Portugal and Spain. And remember, it was the French that drove them out of Europe. It really did, if you look at the history of the world, change the dynamics of the Middle East and Africa and into Europe. Yeah. And there's still some changes going on. I don't want to get too far into it, but it's fascinating. You should check it out. And this book, again, is The Art and Craft of Coffee by Kevin Sinnott. All right, its first use as a heated beverage likely occurred around the 10th century in Turkey, where other beverages made by brewing toasted herbs and teas first became popular. With its close proximity and active trade with Europeans, Turkey helped coffee spread into the Christian and European world. Now, some people consider Turkey to be part of Europe, but it's kind of the gateway.
Yeah.
That's where Constantinople, also known now as Istanbul, is.
Used to be Asia Minor.
Constantine, yeah, Asia Minor. The Catholic Church, which seldom delves officially into dietary matters, became embroiled in whether Christians should partake of this new drink. And whether Christians are Catholics and Catholics are Christians, I will just a quick personal note that there is some debate there, but we'll continue on.
Yeah.
When pressed for an answer, the reigning Pope, Clement VIII, insisted on a sip. He instantly proclaimed coffee a good-tasting and healthful beverage for Christians. Jewish law, which frequently declares various foods kosher in accordance with the religion's rules and customs, deemed coffee allowable.
There you go.
So the main world religions at the time embraced coffee.
Which I think is a big, reason why it spread.
Yeah, the popularity of it.
Yeah.
So that's obviously not an exhaustive conversation about coffee, the history of coffee, religion, or the history of coffee in religion.
Not at all.
So, but it is
Kevin's words, Kevin's
book. It's a good book, and it's certainly a place to get your juices flowing if you want to, learn more about history. If you don't care, I love history, but some people don't enjoy history.
Yeah.
So.
One thing that I thought, it must have been some nice single origin that the Pope tasted.
Yeah, obviously it was
one sip.
Obviously it was blueberries to the face that Clement VIII got.
I think that's where we should go with this.
Did
you know?
Should be a T-shirt
that the Pope got blueberries to the face, and that's the reason.
Have a picture of the Pope, have it like airbrushed Clement VIII on there, and have him get blueberries to the face.
There's our one sip.
I love it.
That's it.
One sip, and you will agree. Christians should drink coffee.
There you go.
Bro, are you a real Christian?
There's a rhyme in there.
Are you a true Christian? You need to drink coffee.
So, anyway, yeah, it's interesting. I think so. And you could dive in more where it interests you.
Yeah, absolutely. The different portions that interest you about coffee and trade and war and history and countries and nations and religion. I think it's fascinating.
It is, especially knowing where we're at today with it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we take all that for granted.
We really do.
So,
and it's outside the scope of this podcast.
Yes.
But I'm happy that we brought it up a little bit. That was a good next step in history and coffee.
Yeah.
Or the history of coffee.
And we will continue more some other time.
Another time. Mm-hmm. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yes.
Thanks
Is that
for listening.
It? We're at time?
Yeah, we're at time.
We're out of stuff.
I'm never out of stuff.
You're always out.
I could always talk about something.
Yeah.
Talk about boxes and bags. Talk about the embarrassing part of dudes hitting me up on Twitter being like, what do you think of the bag? And I'm like, they know me. I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, dude, I love it. I'm over here all geeking out. That's an awesome bag. It's sweet. It's got the pull tab, the Ziploc top, and oh, man, look at the graphics. Right. They're so simple and sweet.
Here's one for you.
Okay.
How do you handle interactions like that where people say, hey, what do you think of this? And you find yourself not liking it. How do you find providing constructive yet honest, graceful feedback?
I just keep it real.
You just break it down? Do you just give it to them straight? Or do you kind of, do you say, well, this is good? Do you lead in with some of the things that you do like? Or are you just more, hardcore like?
All right, kids, earmuffs. Earmuffs, kids. So when mommy asks daddy, does this dress make me look fat? This daddy will say, yes, you should probably change. That is not very flattering on you.
You don't like it?
That's
a loaded question.
Because here's the deal. I got to be transparent.
That's not the question, though, bro.
I got to be honest.
You know that. The question is, am I fat?
That's not the question. And so...
Well, that is...
And
Come on.
But that's not the question that was posed. That's not the question that I answer. You're
going to give the Abe answer.
I try to be gracious to a certain extent.
Sure.
But I can't be gracious to... I don't know. Like, I think about...
You're not going to lie.
I'm not going to lie.
You ain't going to lie.
I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to lie to my people, and I'm not going to lie to my homies.
Does nobody good.
Plus, you have to understand, especially with design and branding, that a lot of it is preference.
It's meant to be judged.
It's meant to appeal to certain...
Sure, exactly.
Certain demographic.
And not everyone's going to like it.
An audience. When brands sit down and they think about who they want to sell to, they design their brand with their audience in mind.
Yeah.
Or they just kind of wing it, and then they suffer because of it, and then they have to change kind of as they're going.
Sure.
Which we're kind of halfway, half and half there.
Yeah. So direct criticism, but I do think there is...
Faithful are the wounds of a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wounds of a friend are better than the kisses of an enemy.
Yeah. I would agree. Even though it might be awkward and it might hurt a little bit, because the truth, it stings.
Sure,
yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
It does sting.
But at the end of the day,
let it sting.
Calling the sky blue.
Let it sting. Let it sting. It's like when Ghostly called us out and said, "Bro, your coffee's too expensive."
Yeah, yeah. But we're specialty.
But is it good? Yeah, it's good. Okay, perfect. So we need to drop the price and keep doing what we're doing.
Absolutely.
If your coffee's not good, then let it sting.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to work on it.
Wouldn't you want to know?
Absolutely.
I think sometimes that's the challenge, especially in a business that you're starting up, an entrepreneurial setting, and all you have around you is family and friends. Sometimes you can have the adverse. A lot of people say, "Oh, you'll never accomplish that. What are you doing? You're wasting time."
Right.
But you could have an equally, opposite.
Too much sugar.
Exactly.
Too much sugar.
Too much. Oh, this is great. This is good.
Great.
This looks good. Just
this
patting your ego, just making you feel good about bad decisions.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Don't let us do that.
Don't let us do that. Yeah. Hit it to us real. Be like, "Bro, your show last week was boring." Okay. Did you try 1.5 speed? It gets better. It gets better when we talk
That's the
faster.
customer service person in you there. Okay. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Have you tried this? Yeah. No, we have this to offer.
Problem solve. Solve. Well,
yeah. I hated your video. Okay. Well, you don't have to watch. There is an audio version.
There's an audio version if you just find that our voices are better than our faces.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you like the video but you don't like the audio, you can mute your speakers.
There you go.
And just watch us make random movements
gestures
and gyrations. And
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's great.
Follow us on music.
Yeah.
When we get there.
Put a little auto tune to it and chop it up.
Sweet. I love it.
That's all attention.
All right. That's it.
All right. That's all I had for you.
No more wasting anybody's time.
Good answer.
All right. Peace out.
Be honest.
Bye.
And thank you so much for joining us for the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. The show notes can be found at orangecactuscoffee.com/episode 49. Want to thank you again for putting this in your ear today. Apologize again for the sound quality. I did my best to edit it and make some adjustments to it. I changed the levels, spent a lot of time trying to fix it, but it still just was not what you expect from us. And we're going to do better. I know you've heard that once before already when we interviewed the Ghostly Roaster, but I'm telling you again, we're going to do better. So it is kind of a work in progress, and I appreciate you bearing with us. We'll catch you next time.